Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Yesterday was a tough night, tough day. Had fun, but just a tough day. Afternoon, Mr. Poole. Afternoon, everybody in the chat. It's a tough day, man. I'm not going to lie. Um, Realize football is just a game. It's literally a game. It's just a sport. I don't know these people, right? And when I was younger, before I had my son, and I understood what real life was and what real love was and all that stuff, right? Took it very serious. I mean, this stuff would hurt. When I was with my first wife, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep if we lost. If we lost a game like that, I could not. It didn't interfere with my life, but it weighed heavy on me. I'm a little bit better, you know, and but it still hurts, man. Still hurts. You know the difference back then is Twitter didn't exist, and when you sat there and you watched the games, you didn't think about anybody else. You didn't think about other Lions fans. You thought about yourself. Like literally, you didn't know. There was no platform, no social media for you to connect with other fans and be like, the only way you know how other fans felt is, y'all remember the good old days back in the day, which was a whopping 5 or 6 years ago, when you used to watch the game with your family or your brother, whoever, and that was it. That was the end of it. You would wear your Lions gear to the mall or to pick up something, and you would strike up a conversation with that person. And y'all would talk. Don't even know each other. Never got each other's name, but y'all talking about your team, right? Those days are gone, and now it's the age of the internet. What's up, Mr. Poole, David, Gaddy? What's going on, man? Happy Friday to y'all. Hopefully y'all got some deals, Black Friday deals. I got everything I want. I'm good to go. But yesterday was tough, man. It was a tough pill to swallow. And you know what make it worse? What makes it worse to me is the fans. It makes it to me is the fan base. Now I want to say something, man. What's up, Patty? What's up, Nation? What's going on, man? I believe that Detroit Lions fans, whoever you are, you have the right to feel however you want to feel. That's about the team. You know, there's a guy. There's a couple guys. There's a guy. He goes by Lions Mane. You see him everywhere. He's on the everywhere. Just a regular guy who dresses up like a lion. I believe his name is Aaron. I actually, chat back and forth with Twitter. He was in our stream one time. You've got Michael Banks, who will never, ever stop believing in his Lions. And I love those fans. I love them. I love that they exist. Now, I've never been one of those guys, but this team is important to me because the Detroit Lions did what the NFL wanted them to do. You are limited to exclusively to watch your region. They used to punish us with blackouts if we didn't support our team. You don't want to come down to the stadium and help this team thrive? We're not going to show you the games. My old school ones remember that, the '08 blackouts. When we went, we didn't even see every loss in 0-16. So why am I going through all this? Because the social media, the age of social media is insane. And last night and on to today, I have seen, in my opinion, it's sad because we're so used to being hurt that we don't know what we want. We don't know what we want as Lions fans. There is one thing that I want, nothing else, to win. And I believe that we don't know what that feels like. So therefore, we don't know how to act when it happens. We don't know how to act. And it's frustrating. Gaddy says, feel your pain like I believe all real Lions do. That game was very well played on our end, and it just hurt so much to see at the end it the way we did. Now listen, y'all know me. I am huge on disrespect, man. For a man, respect is huge. We don't care about a lot of things, but we care about respect. We want to be respected. But we know we have to earn that respect, right? But disrespect drives me crazy. People disrespecting me drives me crazy. It literally fuels me. When I saw Stephon Diggs yesterday, who ain't done nothing the whole game, catch a couple balls, he got up and said whatever he said, I can't remember. And I wanted to jump through the TV and say, bruh, you just showed up. Now, stars show up when they count. And Stephon Diggs is a star. But don't come in talking all this junk like you dominated us, like you've been there the whole game, like you pulled off of Justin Jefferson, like you got 200 yards receiving. You ain't done nothing all game long. Dropping pass. You had at least 2 or 3 drops yesterday. Hit you right in the hands, and you dropped it. And he started flapping at the gums. And you know what I wanted more than anything else? For the Detroit Lions to shut him up. I wanted us to figuratively take our lion claw and slice him up. Because you could see, and Stephon Diggs got a certain look to him. When he yelling and mad, he just got that face. And it pains me to see us lose. Because even now, and I was trying to tell y'all yesterday during the post-game show, that these moral victories are garbage. These attaboys are garbage. Mr. Poole says, I would just like to make it known that from what I've seen today, the Good Morning Football crew, NFL Now, Tom Grassi, Brandon Perner praised the Lions for that game. Some recognition at least. Yeah, that's big. Tom Grassi, Packer fan. That's huge. And I respect him for that, and I appreciate that. But I'm not going down the SOL train. That's not where I'm leading to. I'm just leading to the disrespect continues. Even with the win, we get disrespected. Do you know that I believe that when the Lions win the Super Bowl, we're going to have to go back-to-back for us to get any respect? When the Lions win their first playoff game in 30 years, man, that's what yesterday felt like, right? Playoff game. Let me ask you a question. And I know I'm going all over the place, but just stay with me. Lions fans, some of them are okay with yesterday's loss. And I'm sorry, y'all. Being proud of my team and being okay with a loss is two different things. Especially a loss that you should have been a win, right? It's not like the Lions got blown out. It's not like the NFL, the media was trying to make it seem. It's not like every NFL analyst except one picked the Detroit Lions to get obliterated. It's not like this was the biggest spread of the season for the Detroit Lions. This was a game that we were winning with 2 minutes left. This was a game that you could feel the crowd. You could feel the electricity. You could feel them 66,000 fans, most Detroit Lion, pumping all they could into that team. And you could feel all of it leave when he kicked that field goal. You know what's kind of outstanding? I went to the Justin Tucker game back in 2013. It was a Monday night game. Paid $260 for these tickets times 2. And I remember Justin Tucker booted a field goal very similar to the one he kicked last year. As time expired, and the air that was being sucked out of the stadium was unreal. The walk back to your car in the freezing cold, as you're trying not to bust your tail on snow. It's about 17 degrees outside. I don't have on a coat on purpose because I don't really do coats. And it was so deflating. I am not SOL. That's not happening. What you hear in my voice is, 1, I'm tired, and 2, I'm drained. It's not even about this is solely about yesterday. Like I haven't lost faith in the team. I haven't turned SOL. What you hear It's just disappointment. Because I'm sorry, y'all, moral victories are not a thing. They're not a real thing in life. They're not a real thing on a football field. A moral victory. With the loss, no respect. With the win, no respect. That's what you hear. So this whole show is not going to be about me and my depressed sounding voice, my disappointed sounding voice. I just had to get that off my chest. I realized yesterday when the game was over, still wanted to talk about the team. When the third game was on, I still wanted to talk about the team. I see the upswing of this team. And I want them to keep their head up because the season isn't over. No, Lions Mania, I'm not, no, not SOL. But, SOL is something that I think a lot of fans can gravitate back to pen. You're just instantly SOL. Taylor Decker said yesterday, this is not the same old explicative Lions. They're feeling it. 100%. So this is not me being same old Lions. Because I was there once. I was Terry Foster. They couldn't do any right back in 2019. I was still sick about them firing Jim Caldwell. Couldn't stand Matt Patricia. And to see us lose. And to see that open letter from fans, I was there. I was an SOL fan in 2019. I called myself Black Mike Valenti. Wasn't trying to hear it. I wasn't trying to hear it. I don't feel like that now. I see the upscale of this team. I see the upswing. I see it coming. I do. It hurts though when you have the ability to win and then you don't. That's what this is. Lions Mania says, I'm a fan that wants to see my team stop making the same mistakes every year. In Lions Mania, that's how it's supposed to be. I do understand the SOL mentality, 100%. I understand it. I don't feel like that anymore. But I understand it. But you can see that this is not same old Lions. Same old Lions get blown out that game. And it all comes down to how the fact that we lost. See, at the end of the day, that's what matters. That's what I was trying to tell y'all. These moral victories, and that's why it's so easy for fan bases to fall back to SOL. Because on paper, this Lions is an SOL team. It's been an SOL team for the last 2 years. On paper. You know why? Because they lose. You know why? Because they're up at the half. They lose. That's what the same old Lions do. The same old Lions, they lose. And it's not just they lose, it's how they lose. It's Dan Orlovsky running out the back of the end zone for a safety. It's whatever. That's what brings this up. But for me, it's not like that. I can feel and see the difference in this team. Nate says it was a tall order to beat them, but didn't. We can still kick a whole lot of butt this season and even make the playoffs. And you know what, Nate? That's a good question. I mean, that's a good statement. And I want to say something, too. Okay, I'm about to say something, and I might ruffle some feathers, but that's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to stroke you. I'm not here to do any of that stuff. I'm not here to inflate your ego. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what I think. And you either have the choice to listen or don't. What annoys me about this fan base is we say what's convenient for us. Let me ask y'all a question. Why are the Lions not a playoff team? And it can't be losses. Why are the Detroit Lions, to you, not a playoff team? And it cannot be the loss column. Now, I understand that's a lot to type out. Maybe you can condense it. Caden says coaching. David says coaching. Caden says, and also talent. Jay says, shoot themselves in the foot too much. Patty says, defense. All those are great answers. Nate says, we are a playoff team. Talent is there. Just got to tighten things up. Nate. There you go. That's the answer I was looking for. We are a playoff team. We are a playoff team. If you go by talent, if you go by where we are a playoff team. Playoffs comes down to wins and losses. The reason I told y'all not to take wins and losses or not to lose losses is because when I see this fan base, when we're winning, it's here we come. Playoffs, baby. Now, this is on Twitter. I'm not talking about y'all. Now, I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm saying playoffs from the jump until we're mathematically eliminated because that's what works for me. It doesn't have to work for you. But what works for me is playoffs until we can't get there. But why are we not a playoff team? What makes us not a playoff team? Because it ain't necessarily the losses, because we're 2.5 games out from the wild card spot. So, in a sense, we're 2.5 games from being a playoff team. But look at this team over the year. We're going to talk about it a little later today as well. I could be on for 2 or 3 hours of real talk. In this league, it comes down to a handful of decisions. We won in Green Bay, handful of decisions. We won, or I should say against Green Bay. We won in Chicago. Literally 1 point. We dominate the New York Giants, but you could say the tide changed with Aiden Hutchinson's interception. That's the margin of error in the National Football League. And if you look at the early part of the season, do you understand that we lost by 3 points yesterday? Do you understand that our first 3 losses were a combined 10 points? 3, 3, and 4 to the Minnesota Vikings. Well, 3 to the Seattle Seahawks, 3 to the Philadelphia Eagles, and 4 to the Minnesota Vikings. When we're winning, we're a playoff team. When we're losing, it's year 2 of a rebuild. That's unacceptable to me. This team has showed you that you know what they are? It's inexperience. That's what they are. Inexperience. Could that make them not a playoff team? It could. But talent, I don't think we've lost because of necessarily talent. You know, early season, I thought that. Man, who are our cornerbacks? Dan Campbell was saying all year, and even in the preseason, we got the guys. We like, man, get up out of here. No, you don't. No, you don't have to get. Who are these dudes? You can't win with Khalif Raymond. You can't win with Tom Kennedy. You can't win with no-name secondary. Yes, you can. Because guess what? Dan Campbell lost us 2 games. You might even say he lost us yesterday's game as well. And both of them games that we lost by all 3 games that you could put on coaching. We lost by a total of 9 points. But I wanted to hear it. Why does the fan base wishy-washy like? Why do they teeter-totter? Why do they seesaw? When we're winning, we're good enough to make the playoffs. But when we lose, we're not a playoff team. Katie says, I've ran the New York Times playoff machine so many times. 9-8 seems to be the magic record to make it. Aside from Minnesota, it's a favorable schedule. 5-1 or 4-2 down the stretch, we got to handle business. Now listen, I told y'all last week, I did a scenario. The NFL playoff machine provided by ESPN. I did a scenario that 9 8-9, we can still make it. 100%. When the season first started, I didn't believe in this defense. And for the past 4 games, they've showed up. It's really been the offense that let us down. The play calling that's let us down. I can't put yesterday's loss on the defense. You did an outstanding job on Stephon Diggs. He's a star. He's going to break out. You cannot defend him necessarily all game. Look at what Justin Jefferson has done since Jeff Okudah played him. He was a monster last night. He was a monster 2 weeks ago. Maybe they can win with this team. Maybe they can. But the inexperience starts to show. And I'm starting to believe that the talent is on this team. Because let's be real. If the Washington Commanders can get there, who we beat, if the Seattle Seahawks can get there, who lost to us by 1, who also had no defense, why are we on the outside looking in? Experience and coaching. Experience and coaching. Now, I see you, Chalmers says defense played good enough. Yeah, I think they did. I think they did. Superintendent, did you look at the play calling? See, I think we have to look at the big picture. Stephon Diggs had nothing through 3 quarters and 10 minutes. Josh Allen did what he does. He's going to beat you on the ground and through the air. But nobody else did. Dawson Knox had a handful of catches. Yes, our 30-ranked defense played good enough. We don't have any game changers on that defense outside of Hutch, who is becoming one, Okudah, who is well on his way. We got a bunch of ragtag, hodgepodge dudes. We don't have a Sauce Gardner in the backfield. We don't have a Micah Parsons on the second level. So that's why I said they played good enough. They have. The past 4 weeks, they've played good enough. The offense has let them down once again. Mr. Poole says Kirby was so close to getting that pick. I said the same thing last night. Lions Manny says, Grid, I hear you, but you let Stephon Diggs run right up the middle to set up a field goal. Okay, do we know what the call was? Do we know what the play calling was? Because all of a sudden it got extra soft. And let's not forget who's throwing the ball here. There are two guys currently in the National Football League that if you're down with 15 seconds and you got to go 75 yards, it's 2 guys that I think can bring you back. Not even Stafford. 2 gentlemen, Patrick Mahomes and the guy we played yesterday. And with all that being said, they had to come back and beat us. Think about that, y'all. They had to come back and beat our Detroit Lions. Plus, the play calling didn't help either. Everybody know that if you in prevent defense, even from Madden, your team is you're going to let that team score. Prevent defense is meant for one thing. A play to go up over you. That's one. All this stuff in the middle, easy work. Now, for me, there's something I would have done differently. And let's talk about this. Was Dan Campbell, now again, I'm not trying to attack Dan Campbell. He's done a great job over the past 3 weeks, and he's learned from his mistakes. I think he gets antsy. I think sometimes he second guesses himself. I think sometimes he wants to do one thing and then does another. He said about the Bears game that he leveled back. He took his foot off the gas when it came to 4th downs. He did one yesterday, worked out. But Dan Campbell has obviously learned from his mistakes, 100%. But what happened near the end of the game? I'm sitting there doing the stream, and I'm saying to myself, these guys are playing for the field goal. What are we doing here? Because let's not forget, and we're going to get into this segment later because this guy is polarizing, and I swear we're going to talk about it. But Dan Campbell, who has been coaching great, fantastic over our 3 wins, who I think has learned from his mistakes, his aggressiveness, chose to do something, in my opinion, that was questionable. You go up by 4. You're not playing for the tie. You're playing for the win, right? Bills are up by 3. You go for their throat. The game is lost either way. I'm saying to myself during the stream, we're going to lose this game. Because it's 2 people you can't give time to. You can't give time to Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and I'll throw Matthew Stafford in there too. A healthy Matthew Stafford. You can't give him time either. We're playing to tie. Play to win the game. Why are we playing to tie? And then, because of that, and it's sad because these 2 segments go together, because of that, what do we focus in on? I've heard people talk about time management, Dan Campbell's time management. I've heard people talk about he could have done this, he could have taken a timeout, but you could see that they were playing. No urgency, no nothing. You had all 3 of your timeouts, all 3 of them, and you're playing like you're trying to tie. And I don't understand that. Now, I'm not saying he needs to be fired and none of that stuff. It hurts. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm saying that is how you end this game. Because going the length of a football field, having to cross the goal line for you to win is so much different from getting in field goal range. You can hit a field goal. Yesterday, Michael Badgley hit a 51-yarder. And you know what else? Michael Badgley, man, jawline of steel, drilled a 51-yarder that got erased because all we're talking about is the questionable reserve play calling down the stretch. And we're talking about the 3rd and 1 throw to DJ Chark. Michael Badgley, James Houston's heroics. I think he said he broke a record yesterday, something. First player ever to record 2 sacks in his debut, something like that. Repped hard for the HBCUs yesterday. Shout out to Primetime Dion and all them boys at Jackson State. We cut this guy, picked him back up. I was livid because he didn't make the team at first. Came out and was a force yesterday. All of that is getting drowned out by questionable coaching decisions and a 3rd and 1 throw that went to the end zone. Dan Campbell looked like he was coaching not to lose instead of coaching to win. And that will always end in a loss. And to me, he cleans that stuff up. He gets that stuff together. He's going to be all right. Dan Campbell is indeed learning from his mistakes. And yesterday was another one. And I think he's going to be a better coach for it. Yeah, y'all, it's tough. I don't got the funny attitude. I'm not, the funny quibs and stuff today. My feelings are hurt. Lions Mania says, so you're saying kicking the field goal was a mistake. Lions Mania, what I'm saying is that we had a chance to put our foot on their throat, and we didn't. The field goal was not a mistake because it tied the game. What I'm saying is that's what they were playing for. They were playing to tie the game. St. Brown is working him. We were playing conservative when we should have been playing with our foot on their throat. Because I'm going to tell you what. Okay, Mr. Poole, be safe, man. I'm going to tell you what. If my team is going for the win, I'm okay with that. And they lose, I'm not okay with that. I'm not ever okay with a loss. I would hate it. Now, I'm not talking about a 2-point conversion type deal. I'm saying you're down 3. You have plenty enough. You're not playing for a field goal. If you say, hey, because this is the Buffalo Bills here. Who else knew? Nobody thought we was going to win that game in OT. There's no way we win that game in OT. Coin toss goes to the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen goes down. All of a sudden, don't forget, they score a touchdown. It's a wrap. And that would have been absolutely killer. And I was preparing for that to happen. Once we didn't score a touchdown. From that point on, I was preparing for that type of end to this game. Orlando says, I saw a post-game review on a Bills podcast where they said it looked like Detroit slowed down on the last drive. That's because they did. I don't know if it was a confidence thing or what. But go for the throat, y'all. Develop that killer mentality. Because you know what the Lions should have had? Killed or be killed. Killed or be killed. Kill or be killed. It needs to be the Wild Wild West. It's a kill or be killed lead. You gotta put it in. Camping in the Forest says they went 3 and out, 10 minutes left, 3 passes. Nick says with 10 minutes left, up 3, a 19-yard completion, then a 16-yard completion, then 3 straight incomplete passes. Why don't they run the ball? It was a little tough to run on him yesterday. What's up, Zay? So you're not the same Zay because he came in here after you left the other day. So much to talk about, so much to say. You know what makes this worse? We don't play Sunday. We play next Sunday. It's going to give our guys an opportunity to lick their wounds, but we don't play. Now, the good news is that the Lions are not out of it at all. And I'm still talking playoffs. And I'm going to talk playoffs until it ain't no reason to talk it anymore. Until I see that little bitty E next to our name. Because that's why I watch. But I got a question for y'all. And I want to have an honest conversation. Because I think we need to have one. 100%. Now it's time to have a conversation about the most polarizing figure I think I've ever seen in Detroit sports. You might be like, well, who would that be? Mr. Jared Goff. Jared Goff is the most polarizing figure in Detroit sports I think I've ever seen. Dave Burkett from the Free Press says, article for subscribers. You know, I had to sign up so I can get that news. Detroit Lions playoff push possible. Bills loss illustrates Goff's shortcomings at QB. It bothers me, y'all. It really does bother me. And Jared Goff took responsibility for yesterday's loss. He didn't pull a Zach Wilson. After the game was over, Jared Goff and DJ Chark had a 5-minute conversation in the locker room. 5-minute conversation. After the game was over, I go to the ultimate Goff bashing ground, Twitter, and I see the comments that I'm used to seeing. I see a guy says that he's going to wait till the 22 film comes out, the all 22 of the throw, the third down and 1. I'm not going to defend Goff on this play. He admitted it himself. that wasn't the only place he could have went to. There were other receivers he could have went to, and he made a bad throw. But the thing that bothers me about when it comes to Jared Goff is the fact that there are other things that contributed to us losing the game. But why do we focus on Goff? Is it because of $30 million? If Goff was getting 7, would it be so much? Tony says Goff is the reason we need to lie. It was Goff and the Williams fumble. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, Tony, I don't understand that first part. But all we're going is Goff's horrible throw. What about Jamal Williams' fumble? What about the safety? Goff could have thrown it out of bounds. Maybe. Matt says 3rd and 1, 3 timeouts, and they go with vert, shoulder, back fade. Not only that, Matt, but to a guy that has been on the field for a handful of games. Now, I'm not going to take nothing away from DJ Chark. He made a fantastic catch. It was good to see. I was like, man, that could have been a huge story for yesterday's game. Not only the walk-off touchdown, but to DJ Chark, who had his man beat. Goff missed a throw. It happened. It happens. I just don't understand why we have to point out every single bad thing Goff does. I've never seen this. Matthew Stafford was here for 10, 12 years, and I have never seen us destroy him like we're doing. Is it because he's the better quarterback? Is that why? Is it because when he came here, he had a baby face? I don't understand. But Jared Goff is the reason the Detroit Lions lose every single game. They didn't win a single game yesterday or last year because of him. Let's not forget the first game we won last year, the Lions went the entire field. And I want to say it was less than a minute. TJ Hawkinson made some big catches. St. Brown made some huge catches. 4th down and 10. 4th down and goal. 4 seconds left. Touchdown. But Dave Burkett says that it is Goff shortcomings are obvious. And it's tough. It's just tough, man. Because I think for some reason we are just all on his Bill Barnwell put out something yesterday and said the Lions should have the lead. The thing that I see is this. It's like the entire team messes up. And it's sad it came down to one play. But at least Jared Goff takes responsibility. He said he missed a ball. He missed a throw. Bad throw. He said, this is what Goff had to say, and I appreciate this. Because last week, Mr. Zachariah Wilson, I don't know if that's his name. I'm just making one up. Zach Wilson says, was asked a question about letting the defense down. He said, no. No. Now, if you ask me, he looked like a scared little kid. A scared little kid. And I felt sorry for him in a way because he don't know what kind of mess he got himself into. But here's what Goff had to say about the play call yesterday from Ben Johnson. That was a great call, Goff said. This is from the Free Press. There's 4 receivers on that play, and you can throw to any of them. And the guy I picked was open. But we didn't hit it, so we can second guess it all we want. But no, I love the call and wish I would have made it work some way or another. Goff said as well in yesterday's press conference that it's a lot of factors you can put on the loss. It's a lot of different things that could happen. But he took responsibility for the missed throw. But my thing is this, y'all. Why does it come down to that? Why does it come down to that? It comes down to Goff's missed throw. The guy was open. You don't think good quarterbacks make bad throws? I've seen some bad throws from Josh Allen. Is it because the good outweighs or the bad outweighs the good with Goff? You know what I've seen from Jared Goff? You know how we want to talk improvement? We want to talk those fighting Lions, right? Those fighting Lions. You know how we want to talk improvement. Jared Goff has improved from last year. There was a thing I used to call the dreaded spin move because every time he made it, he got sacked. But those days are gone. He did a spin move yesterday and got out of harm's way. Nate says, thank you, Grid. It was the entire team that lost the game. Sure, the mistakes by Goff are amplified because he's the central figure on the offense. I agree with that, Nate. And it's not that my next statement, I'm not about to disagree with you, but I'm going to say something more polarizing. Lions fans don't like Jared Goff because he's not Matthew Stafford. It's the bottom line. This man has been here for 18 months, well, almost 2 years, and he cannot do any right. Let's not forget, Goff and the offense went 91 yards against the Chicago Bears to come back and win. Nobody talks about that. They talk about one missed throw from Jared Goff. I've also heard Jared Goff doesn't go through his reads. You know they used to say the same thing about Matthew Stafford? But I'll say this. When we're winning, he sure does. Sometimes it looks like he doesn't. He just locks on to one guy and bloop, all the way. But I've seen games where Goff, you can see his head turning as he's progressing through his reads. This is we cannot blame all the blame on one person. And I think, honestly, that the perfect example why is our former quarterback. And I think Goff has done enough to earn something from us. Now, I'm not one of them guys that I will point out when Jared Goff does bad. He also threw a pass yesterday that I have no idea what happened, but the receiver had to play defender. But all quarterbacks do that, though. All quarterbacks do that. Our former quarterback is the pick six king. He is the pick six champion. He's also a Super Bowl champion. How do you explain that? How do you explain in a year that you lead the league in 17 interceptions, you tie a record for consecutive games with the pick six, but you walk away with a Super Bowl? How do you explain that? How do you explain that the Super Bowl champions, LA Rams, are looking like they're going to be the 2021 Detroit Lions? Because you need a team around you. Every human being makes mistakes. Every quarterback makes mistakes. Super Bowl champion quarterbacks make mistakes. Josh Allen threw a dime to Patrick Peterson, but Patrick Peterson is not on his team. Goff makes mistakes. If he's mediocre, we can still win with a mediocre quarterback. At least he's not a bad quarterback. Because you can't win with a bad quarterback. If you want more than that, I understand. But every loss is not Jared Goff's fault. Now I want to know how y'all feeling. Because the worst part for me of this entire loss, the worst part, y'all, is the fact that we got to wait so long. I saw an interview from Jared Goff from last Monday. He was on with Dan Miller, voice of the Lions. And Goff said he was asked about the game and he against Buffalo. He was like, "We wish we could play them now. We wish we can play that now." Yeah, Nick, that's the one. I was like, "What are you doing?" The spin move that converted it. I'm like, bro, you're trying to make something happen, but you're doing too much. Because I know these guys are ready to get back out there. Taylor Decker said yesterday, we're not the same Lions. They sick of that jump. I know he is. He's been here since 2016. He was here with Jim Caldwell. He was here through Matt Patricia. He been there. Jerry Jacobs is in concussion protocol. That sucks. Found out that the fans booed the Thanksgiving show. Did not know that. Von Miller has a sprained knee. It's not a torn ACL. He's going to miss some time. He might be out. They might have to put him on IR and have him come back to make a Super Bowl run. But here's the thing, y'all. As we wrap up the show for this Black Friday, and I hope some good comes out of this. Go get these deals, man. Shout out to St. Brown. Shout out to James Houston. Shout out to the Lions fans for going down there, man, selling that place out. And shout out for the long walk back to the car after a devastating loss yesterday. But I want to end the show for the weekend on a good note. The Detroit Lions are not out of the woods yet. Not in the doghouse yet. I said that we were going to be 4-7 right now. There's only one game that has gone different from what I've said. Now, I wish there was some type of contest or if, like, it goes the way I predicted and somebody gave me a prize. That would be facts. Goff did not turn the ball over. That's 2 weeks. Yeah, he almost did, Nate. He almost did. That spin move was a dumb spin move, throw. I'm discombobulated. Oops. I mean, he had a dude, but he couldn't really hone in on him. It was almost like the butt throw from Marcus the other day. But the Detroit Lions, man, it is not over yet, okay? Not over yet. Now, as I said, I'm going to talk playoffs until we can't talk playoffs anymore because most of y'all are watching for growth, and that's fantastic. I'm watching for wins. That's why I'm watching. And it's okay. You want to watch the way you want to watch. You want to watch why you want to watch. That's okay. But that don't work for me. You know why? Because all season long, we're doing something. We're wishing something. We're hoping something. The hype is, but one thing that kind of stuck with me is Dan Campbell's. What are the 2022 Detroit Lions? They can and they will. And we're right there. We're right there. I'm going to get the Lions defense for Black Friday. That might be the funniest comment of the year. Like real talk. But I want to show y'all something. And we're gonna keep doing this. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna make a video about it. This is the playoff picture with 3 games out of the way for week 12. Uh-oh. Nope, not that one, this one. Let's go here. Let's go up to right here. The Vikings, watching them win yesterday was disgusting. I saw TJ Hawkinson catch a touchdown. 49ers, 3rd place. Buccaneers, 4th. It ain't over. This is where I had us to start the season. Or in my preseason prediction. Once the official schedule came out back in May, this is where I had us. At 4-7, losing to the Buffalo Bills. The New York Giants have dropped 2 in a row. This is the team that's going to fall out. They're going to fall. They're going to lose 4 or 5 in a row. Their downfall starts today because the one-dimensional offense against good teams is not going to work. That's one thing we don't have. as a one-dimensional offense. They do. Okay? They do. Cowboys will be second in the East. That's going to happen. That is going to happen. The Buccaneers will win the South. Never count out Tom Brady, right? And the Saints, I'm sorry, the 49ers, I looked right at them and said this, they're going to win the West. Vikings win the North. Eagles win the East. It's going to come down between these two teams, right? I see them going on a run too. It's going to come down between these two teams for 1 and 2, right? We're not going to win a division. So that means we need to slide in these 3 spots here. Let me minimize this so you can see. So all 3 spots can be on the page at the same time. I believe in this team, bro. This team will make it. They're going to be in second place in the East. This team's going to fall out. We need one of these. We need this team to be down here. And they will. They will. We need the Raiders to pull off a stunner. Because even though we lost yesterday, would they win yesterday, okay, we may not have even moved up. Not until this weekend. The highest we could have been was here. After a win yesterday and a Atlanta loss. 5 and 7, 5 and 7. We may or may not have gone up above them, right? We weren't going to catch this team until week 15. 14, 15, somewhere around there. And they play the Falcons. In this scenario, okay, we need a Falcons win. We need a Falcons win. But more importantly, we need this team to start falling. We need the Seahawks. We need these 2 teams to start falling. If they don't start, they're already start losing. They got a good chance to start. All of a sudden, Lions can take care of business against Jacksonville. Seahawks lose. Don't forget that the Seahawks play 2 games before the Lions, or while the Lions have already played theirs. So we got this Sunday, and then we got next Sunday when the Lions come back and host Jacksonville. Now, obviously, we got to take care of business. Jameson Williams will probably be back against Jacksonville. That's going to be a huge, huge. It might not be off rip, but I'm telling you what, there are so many passes that this young man will catch, and he will be gone. Very few people in the NFL will catch him. Even though they're fast too, they're going to have an awesome angle because you ain't about to run him down from behind. I would like to see DK chase after Jameson. That would be something to see. So we need, it ain't over yet. We even with a loss, we haven't moved. We were here. We only could have gone up to there. That we couldn't have gotten no higher than here. What it comes down to is these 4 teams: Falcons, Washington, Seahawks, Giants. We need the Giants to start falling. They already have. I see them losing 5 straight. I see them. They got 4 starting yesterday. They have 3 or 4 division games in a row. Okay, now they lost 2 to Dallas. They're done. They have the Eagles twice. As a matter of fact, they end the season against the Eagles. And they have the Washington Commanders twice. They could go 0-6 in the division. We need them to fall, okay? We need this team to fall. We need it to come down between this team. This team is going to start losing. I don't think they're going to win. We need them to win this week. But we can't have the Falcons come in and just ruin everything because they could, all right? We need it to come down between this team and this team for this spot. If that happens, we're in. Now, there is a scenario that we're in. I'm going to put that video up in a few days or maybe today because there's nothing to do, nothing to talk about for the next week. But the Detroit Lions, like I said, to start this segment or this stream, the ESPN playoff predictor machine is out. Okay? Now, let's look what the Lions have. The Lions have a very favorable schedule, but not to be overlooked. I hate the fact that you have to go to their actual. The Lions play the Jacksonville Jaguars at home, the Minnesota Vikings. I think we play them tough. At home, we owe them. The past 3 games between the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions have all been nail biters. They won on the walk-off earlier last year. We won in the walk-off this year. I think it's going to be a dogfight, and I'm hoping we win that thing. Just think, y'all, if the Detroit Lions can somehow win against the Minnesota Vikings, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the New York Jets. We're 3-3. I'm sorry, we're 7-7. 7-7 with 3 games left. Our last 3 games, the Carolina Panthers, the Chicago Bears, and the Green Bay Packers in Week 18. So, my point is this. Hope is not lost. We have room for 1 loss, 2 losses at the most to get into the playoffs. We have to go 5-1 would be favorable, 4-2 bare minimum, and we need everything to fall right. Everything to fall right at 8-9. But there is a scenario. Watch for it. I'm going to do a video about it. There is a scenario that the Detroit Lions make the playoffs at 8-9. And I'm sick of people questioning me, so I'm going to do it and get this thing out. So listen, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you on Monday.